Just waiting for us to know if we're live. Hopefully we are. We are good to go. We are live. Good. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Now let's just... Perfect. Oh, I don't have Discord on open. Okay, so how do I get that? It's this way. And now I can actually see where I'm going. Oh, excuse
Kudu
me.
says you wish to know about the tower? To be honest, we know little and less about it ourselves. This Tower of Zot, as folk have taken to calling it, suddenly appeared where it did on the Isle of Naranair. We're safe from its influence at this distance, but go too far into the water, and you'll expose yourself to its corrupting ether. You're a foreigner, aren't you? How are they dealing with the tower in your homeland?
Welcome in, Botrix.
Kudu says our struggles are not unique. Then our hopes still lie with the talismans. We must keep the monsters contained until they're ready. Barzhan says finished speaking with the soldiers, have you? I hope it was as enlightening for you as it was for them. As a neutral nation and trading hub both, Radz Adhan ordinarily receives a steady stream of news from abroad. Alas, this stream dried up when trading vessels stopped coming. Barzhan says amidst the dearth of information, everyone will have been grateful for your account. But come, you had best see to your original errand. As mine will keep me here a while longer, however, I'm afraid I cannot guide you the rest of the way. Barzhan says worry not, the path is straightforward, you need but follow the road east. Upon the Hamsa, you will arrive before you know it. Barzhan says brief though it was, I enjoyed our time together. Till we meet again.
Oh, that master's right here. I thought we were actually going east now. Never mind.
Though the Hamsa appears to want to return home, it reluctantly offers you its back. Should you become separated from your steed, speak with the Radiant Beast Keeper at the Hamsa hatchery to mount it again.
Okay. Where are we going, anyways? I'm gonna level up just from exploring this new area, I think. Oh, maybe not. Hey, look! Oh, I can't. I think I'm going right here. Yeah. Nope. Am I going there, maybe? Where is the giant doll's ground? Let's look that. Let's Google that. Giant doll grounds. A boy's errand. Hey, gameplay boy. $19.9. 19 by 19 by 3. Oh, 19 by 9, sorry. Oh, right here.
No sooner do you arrive at your destination than the Hamsa dashes off.
I can't turn it in as that, so let's go Pyromancer.
Xenuha says this is indeed the giant skull grounds, and I am Xenuha. Is there something you require? Xenuha says giant skull for the alchemists, you say? But of course they shall have it. Xenuha says they labor tirelessly to deal with the tower, and 'tis the least we can do to provide them with the materials they need. Xenuha says here you are, a sack of the purest giant skull. We always set some aside for our alchemist friends. When you deliver it, let the good folk of the great work know that we're grateful for their efforts. If they need more, they need but ask.
Now where do I go? Oh, back, all the way back to the great work. I don't want to ride that mount. Chicken would do. Uh-oh.
Chocobo Keep says well, Nidhana says welcome back, Haven. Dare I hope you have the giant skull? Oh my, such fine specimens. Thank you so much for bringing these. Nidhana says we now have everything we need to make our next prototype, one that should be capable of passing our most rigorous tests. Nidhana says when it is ready, it will be time for the true test, so please take your ease while you can.
I see our taskmasters have allowed you a moment's respite as well. You have to hand it to these alchemists. They are determined to see this endeavor of theirs succeed. I've never been one for blind optimism, but I sincerely get the sense they're close to a breakthrough.
They had better be, or all this effort was for naught.
The peoples of Eorzea, of the Far East, of Thavner, children of this star united in common cause against a dire threat. Yet ere they succumb to suicidal madness, Were not the Telophoro born of her body as were we? They who cling to life and the promise of the morrow's dawn, against they who desire death and an ending of their own orchestration. The victors of this war alone will hold to answer the question of existence, of its meaning, and its worth.
Poetic and ominous to a fault. That said, if it's an existential debate in nature, then our arguments might not be as persuasive as you'd think. Fandaniel wants to die and take everyone with him in an orgy of pain and suffering. An utterly vile and unforgivable idea. And yet, when spat upon by fate and wailing in the deepest pit of despair, who among us can say they have not entertained similar thoughts? There are nights black as pitch, bereft of hope, and no words of comfort can reach you. And it's all you can do to grit your teeth and choke back the bile.
The more you see and suffer life's injustices, the more difficult they become to bear. Vengeance is nurtured in similar soil. Though your anger has a broader focus, the sentiment is much the same. A fervent desire to destroy others, to see them drown in torment, as you have.
That about sums it up. The will to endure is not always as strong as the urge to burn it all down and salt the earth. Survival be damned. It's a struggle, often close and brutal.
Indeed. Well, I, for one, shall pray survival proveth more appealing in the end.
As will I. Besides, our chances are much improved when we've the company of others committed to the cause of life. Our vengeful dragoon here is proof of that. What is it? What did you see? Fandaniel, are you sure? If he knows we've been working on a countermeasure.
It holds. The vessel holds. This is the one.
At long last! Look! We have finally created a talisman strong enough to withstand our experiments. We've named it a warding scale for the time being. With this in your possession, your soul should be completely shielded from corruptive ether.
Afforded such protection, any one of us may approach the towers without fear. Thou hast mine admiration. 'Tis an invention of historical significance.
I thank you for your kind words. But I would prefer you keep them unsaid until we test the talisman's efficacy in the field. It is for the next stage of our plan that we summoned you in the first place, to accompany me to the Tower of Zot. Should the scale prove as I very much hope it will, then you'll have little to do. But should the effect be weaker than anticipated, I must ask that you restrain me, or knock me senseless. Either way, we are fortunate to have you with us.
Nidana, are you certain you wish to do this?
If others are to trust our creations, then we must have faith in them first. And as the senior researcher, it falls to me to lead by example. But should I fail to return, then learn what you can from this attempt and apply it to the next. Our work must continue. Is that clear?
We'll keep an eye on the place while you're away. Assuming Fandaniel is lurking about, there's no telling what mischief he has in mind for us, or you. Be on your guard.
Shall we be on our way? I'll have one of the soldiers at the hatchery prepare us a boat, and we can set out from the northern shore. I'll see you there.
Oh, that's for... Go back all the way north. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Nidhana says this is a rather finer boat than I had expected, but I won't complain. All that remains is to board and be on our way. Oh, and if I should become corrupted, do not stay your hand. Of course I pray it does not come to that, but you must protect yourself. Other alchemists can fulfill my role, but you and your blessing are one of a kind, and perhaps our only hope for toppling Well, the longer I draw this out, the more nervous I become. Let's be off.
What?
We should soon cross the threshold of the tower's influence. Any moment now. It's working! And you are still yourself? Then I'd like to see how it fares closer to the tower if we could. So far, so good. The scale's protection appears to be holding. If we can just make it to the tower's entrance.
Actually, let's not switch classes. I know I'm running as a Dark Knight right now.
A few more steps.
Let's do the rest of Endwalker as my Viper.
Praise be to the sisters, we made it! And the scale has proven itself to be everything we hoped it would be. Now we can focus on production. Once we've equipped and returned with an entire survey team, this menace will soon give up its secrets. Here we go! Here we go!
Oh, do calm down. You'll only hurt yourself thrashing about like that.
Stop! Oh, you can't do this! Please!
A little late for heroics, I'm afraid. The similarities are striking. My! Such hostility! Never before has my artistry so displeased. My patrons of old would have positively squealed in delight, though, between you and me, I find gushing praise exhausting. Allow me to tell you a story. Surely you've yet to hear the one about Vandaniel, the sundered Asir. I inherited the position and the soul of the Vandaniel who sat on the convocation in the time of the final days, theoretically speaking. Practically speaking, that fact is of no consequence. I was born and lived as, well, me. Eventually, I was recruited into the Ascians and imbued with the former Vandaniel's knowledge and memories. But I never felt that they were truly a part of who I am. How to explain? Perhaps if I told you who I was before my Ascian embrace, although that chapter too is a past I've long since discarded. I have it on good authority you've poked your nose into an Allagan ruin or two. Yes? Then I expect you've heard of me. The old me. At your service. Imagine a nation of unbridled prosperity. Every need met, day after day of unbroken, unshakable peace. Existence fulfilled and ripe for decay.
You are a genius without peer, Amon. However do you conceive of such delightful experiments? That fool was beside himself with panic when he awoke with the head of a bull. Even his cries for help emerged as so much guttural lowing. Oh, the memory of it. My poor sides. My friends and I were so consumed by laughter we struggled to breathe.
No more than entertainment for bored wastrels ignorant of its worth. My all-consuming work. But it was not their only indulgence. For they were ever hungry for stimulation. Slaves to the slightest hint, and amusement was afoot. Our nation was ailing, but I would see the poison purged. I resurrected a legend, our first and greatest emperor. And just as I had planned, he set our wayward empire back on the path of conquest. An inexhaustible ambition carried us onwards, always onwards. Yet, he who delivered to us such glory was not to be satisfied.
Heed me, Amon. No matter how vast one's empire, or full one's all is rendered meaningless by death. In the end, all is lost.
You know as well as I that the Emperor stands to lose this war. And so I have come to claim you. For while your methods leave something to be desired, we cannot deny the results of your work. And as fortune would have it, the seat of Fandaniel, your rightful seat, lies vacant and waiting. Take your place amongst your peers, rather than die a pointless death amidst the ashes of your doomed nation. Send one of your clones to the Crystal Tower that you might see for yourself. See what lies ahead.
The fall of the Empire affirmed the truth. Majestic and tragic, as the Emperor foresaw. Scheme as you like, build as you will, nothing endures. What is life but a brief jaunt ending in emptiness?
So easily distracted. Why, I almost left without saying farewell. As for your friend, you needn't worry. These pawns are far more useful to me alive as fuel for the primals. If you attempt to pull them free, they will die. So, enjoy tackling that conundrum with your comrades. We shall meet again! Not in these minor spires, oh no, but somewhere more suitably grandiose. Your favorite playmate is ever so eager to see.
When was it?
Radiant says, "Ah, you are returned. But, where is Mistress Nidhena?" Radiant says, "Manish ya preserve."
Oops.
Just when we had I must report this at once. Meanwhile, please return to the great work.
No 5, no 11, 12, 13, 2, 13, 3, 13, 3, or 16. Oh.
Then Cred says, something's gone awry, hasn't it? What happened? So it was Fandaniel after all. Damn that bastard. I'm sure you wanted to do more, but you were right to return here first. Then Cred says we must tread warily lest we endanger Nidhana and the other captives. Then Cred says first, we must inform everyone of the situation, Nidhana's colleagues included. I'll call them together for a gathering, but I think it would be best if you were the one to explain. Exuberant says oh, Nidhana. Accomplished says can you answer, though Nidhana is trapped in the tower, she's still alive. Accomplished says then. Spirited says then we must make warding scales. The prototype works perfectly. This, Nidhana proved, so let us make more scales, that she and all those who were taken might be saved. Accomplished says I. As alchemists. Varzhan says my friends, the satrap has been made a... He offers his heartfelt condolences, and reiterates his pledge to provide you with all that you require. To that end, he bade me give you this link pearl, that he might personally discuss the production of the warding scales with... And for our Eorzean visitors, I bear an invite. In her report, Mistress Nidhana noted your vital contributions to the talisman's creation. This fact came to the satrap's attention, and in recognition of your deeds, he wishes to... In addition to thanking you in person, he would also discuss further avenues of collaboration, and so, if it is agreeable, will you not accompany me to Radz Adhan for an audience with His Excellency? Then Cred says we should be honored, of course. Closer cooperation between our lands can... Varzhan says then it is settled. Please come to the gates east of the Giant Skull grounds, and I will...
Oh, that's something I haven't done. I don't have on my okay.
Varshan says all present? Then let us proceed. Owing to the threat of the tower, the city is currently in a state of high alert, and strict restrictions are in place for entry. Though you have been granted special permission, I ask that you remain close to me at all times.
A vast rock squats upon Thavnair, and to its stony surface clings the city of Rads at Han. Ye who enter here are subject to the scrutiny of gods, the gate's most watchful eye. The orb which beholdeth the truth of all things. Pass beneath its hot and piercing gaze, bearing down like a second midday sun. The fragrant haze, a mixture of sweet incense and acrid smoke. The cries of merchants mingled here with lively melodies accented by dancers' feet. Travelers seduced by vivid sound and colors were once swallowed up by patchwork streets. But no such scenes to savor now. To what somber present does that divine eye bear witness?
Megaduta. It seems a shame to bring you here directly. Under normal circumstances, it would have been my pleasure to show you the sights.
And it would have been our pleasure to see them. Alas, it seems our tour of the city will have to wait.
I'm afraid so. Come, we should head inside. Your Excellency, may I present our honored visitors?
Ah, splendid. Most splendid. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ahawan, satrap of Radzatan. Our alchemists tell me your assistance was invaluable in the creation of the warding scale. Such deeds ought to be recognized in person. Thus did I have young Varshan convey you here forthwith. On behalf of my people, may I express to you our sincere gratitude. A regrettable incident indeed. Her colleagues insist that we honor her wishes and trust in the talisman, that it will be instrumental in saving Nidana and the others. I am eager to hear your opinion on the matter, so let us not stand on ceremony. Come, sit.
I think not. This charade has gone on long enough. Show yourself.
Forgive me, but were you expecting musicians, perhaps? There are no performers waiting in the wings at present, but arrangements could be made if you prefer.
Nay, he hath the right of it. The time for artifice is past. Raise the curtain.
As you wish.
You travel as assistants to the students of Valdesian, but you are known to me. Even here have we heard of the scions of the Seventh Dawn. And for years uncounted has this isle served as mine abode.
Vritra, of the first brood, sibling to Hraesvelgr and Nidhogg.
Aye, mine elder brothers, of Midgard's former spawn. I was last to hatch.
Well, isn't this a surprise? We were told Radzat Han had an alliance with a dragon. Not that a great worm sat in the satrap's own hall.
A necessary subterfuge, as the true tale of our nation history illustrates most effectively. In the beginning, the rock upon which our city is built was home to Vitra, and Vitra alone. In time, the ancestors of the Matanga came to the island and established a foothold. but never did they dare disturb the worm's lair. Next to arrive with the Aura, adopting the example of their Akasodra allies, they too treated Vitra with reverence and respect. And for many years, an understanding between our forefathers and the Great Worm endured. Until marauding heroes from the mainland came, threatening to shatter our peace and tranquility. When it seemed all would be drowned in blood, Vitra himself came forth and quelled the rising conflict. A peaceful accord was reached, and oaths sworn in Vitra's name. Thus began the dragon's governance of the fledgling state, which was to grow into Radz at Han.
But if Ritra is still here, then your position as Satrap is just...
A charade, yes. And one which my family has performed faithfully for generations.
Many envy the Great Worms their power. Were it known that I ruled here, then the fires of war would burn without end. I would not be the flame which consumeth my people. Those few who join me in laying our country's foundations were, perforce, sworn to secrecy.
Your eye. It was taken.
"'Tis here, buried within the semblance of flesh. The body before thee is but a simulacrum, constructed by the finest artisans of Razatan. With mine eye nestled within, it doth serve as an inconspicuous vessel for my will."
That would explain why I felt the presence of a dragon upon our first meeting.
I am woven with words fashioned to deceive such arcane senses. Though 'twas short-lived, it seemeth thy fusion with my brother hath left thee much altered. Destinian warm-blood.
Wait, his brother?
From the very first, we sensed the nature of one another. Yet did neither one of us bear his fangs. That is all I need know of thee for now.
With my secret thus revealed, I have for you a proposal. Not as a worm of the first brood, but as the ruler of Radz at Han. With all haste must we take in hand the finished talismans and breach this foul spire. Thence, should it lay within our power, dispel its wicked influence. Yet even with the assurance of the warding scales, the narrow confines of the tower doth limit the size of our force.
And thus denied strength in numbers, thou must choose thy soldiers with care.
Just so. Yet though our radiant host is formidable, I see a surer path before me. Thou and thy comrades have contended with a multitude of primal beings. Most recently, thou didst cast down false gods in Pagalthan and Cartanau, I am told. 'Tis upon that strength I would call. The Scions have proven themselves the most capable, and I ask that you serve as the tip of our spear. Talismans would, of course, be provided for each of thy companions. And should you agree to this undertaking, more will be provided to make use of as you see fit.
There's no denying it's a dangerous proposition, but the rewards may far outweigh the risk. Just think of what we might accomplish if we could equip all our allies with warding scales. I worry, however, that even the 4 of us may be too few for what you have in mind. Might we regroup with our friends first to discuss the matter?
'Tis no trifling task that I have laid before you. Go, steel your hearts and hone your plans. Such time as you require shall be spent in crafting your protective charms.
It seems a quick trip back to Sharlayan is in order.
Wilt thou not lend thine aid?
Whether your request be made as a great worm or the ruler of Radzadhan, I see no reason to refuse, nor will I.
I am in thy debt.
Cool beans. Let's talk to Tancred.
Then Cred says that meeting took a rather unexpected turn, but we now have a clear objective ahead of us. Let us rejoin our comrades in Sharlayan, and muster a suitable crew for our foray into the Tower of Zot. Oh, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to attune to the Aetheryte here before departing. Unless of course you enjoy violent nausea.
Yeah, no I don't.
Radiant says my apologies, but
just a tap of Radzadhan is the last quest here. Okay. Okay, so let's go to Ochalalan now. And we're going to turn this quest in as Picto.
Then Cred says just as I was getting used to balmy Thavnair, we're back in chilly Sharlayan. Take care not to catch your death, Ed. We need you for the battles to come. Now then, your investigation here remains, but when that's over, we can take stock of all of the developments and discoveries.
Okay, so hitting the books is next. Cryo's right here. Okay, perfect.
Kryle says my directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenor, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numenor extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Gubal Library pale in comparison to Numenor's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Wishtala and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alisai and Alphinaud will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or forum policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading! The says long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rogadan man by the name of Nuankrep. Nuankrep was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nuankrep's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nuankrep wove a mighty spell of teleportation, and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalathia's spine.
How do I unlock this dungeon? Oh, here's trial. Oh, Hildebrandt.
Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nuankrep gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island, and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. Rhodes says many years ago, on the banks of the Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th astral era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. "50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idle Shire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Idle Shire. This book does not appear to contain additional information on the Forum, or cover the history of the Sharlayan motherland in greater detail.
Okay. So I've already read that book. There's another one here.
The says in the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today conceived and created.
Okay, so basically it's electoral college.
And says, have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain, in satisfactory detail, why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Alag who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamud, and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past? That their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? This book is on the wrong subject. Search for works which contain details on the Forum, or mention the history of Sharlayan.
So it's not that book. Let's try this book over here. Forever 20 Summers.
Forever says, my beloved seekers of knowledge. Have you ever put learning before your health, and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I, too, once engaged in such foolish practices. But one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra, I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant, you could be 19, or 23, or 40. Whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain.
Shit, I'm gonna be 38 forever.
Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research, another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, etheriological, and arcane viewpoint. This book is on the wrong subject. Stewart says during the chaos of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, Archon Nyunkrep, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war, and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds, rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin. And the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge deliver the world. You have gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the Forum. Head outside to the rendezvous point and await your companions.
Actually, I want to do. It's a level 80 quest, damn it. Mary McLeese took over the president's role from Mary Robinson. Oh, that's cool.
Elisai says sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphanaut and Kryl should also be along. Jiraha says I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mention the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make. Elisai says it would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read, and a... Jiraha says oh, I was always quite fond of, but it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss... Elisai says it's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the families. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphanaut and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. Jiraha says a harsh measure, indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position, and that of the Forum. Elisai says we'll mend this rift one day. And what of you, Jiraha? Have you been to visit your family? Or do Jiraha says well. My situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in the southern reaches of Ilsabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship, brought in the subjugated tribes of the Miko-Te to serve as. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign. And when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being. Alisai says, isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? Jiraha says, for the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan I no longer pass to our eldest children as reliably. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allag. As the last child born with the Allagan I was given over to the custody of friends in the students of Baldician, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. Alisai says, I never even considered. Forgive me. Jiraha says, even then Cred was taken in by Archon Losoix, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common, yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn. And with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted.
Hey, thank you,
Tis
JD
exactly
Bot.
why I have such love for this country.
I know you're probably a bot,
and
but
why I wish it
thank
to
you.
remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Alisai says, here. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Haven. More company should be arriving.
Cool. Excuse me.
Alphanod says we've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected. Kryl says, speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amorat firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Alphanod says, ahem, I believe Hydaelyn and Zodiark were summoned after the final days had arrived. If we are speaking of phenomena caused by the final days, the chaos of creation magics run rampant is what first comes to mind. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion, meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable. Kryl says that more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Waishtala surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? Alphanod says, yes, the Amoratines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, and not even Amorat. Kryl says, so the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive. I'll have to speak with one of Numenon's mammoths, and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they? Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this? Alphinaud says yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart. So many gave themselves in. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark. A trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Venet and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn.
We have one mutual? Oh, Ashley.
Kryl says thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telephora we truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum. Alphinaud says we should keep an eye out for Wishtala, but 'tis time we began studying these
Talk to this again? Wow.
Wishtala says I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Gerun oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Gubal. 'Tis even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortunald with knowledge of the Telephorawi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for. You labor for what feels like an age as Wishtala's research assistant.
Okay, so now let's go back to Pictomancer.
Kryl says, oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time.
Who has the other 515 gear? Are you running 515 gear? No, you're running almost 530 gear for almost everything. Warrior maybe? What are the classes of 80? Dragoon. Oh, you definitely need some more, some better gear. So you're gonna open this. Huh, that's funny. That's too funny. You got the 515 gear, but you are completely getting rid of it immediately. Wait, can I grab you as Ducknet? I can grab this rest as a Ducknet.
Alisai says ready for a tea break, Haven. I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good.
Oh my god.
As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlatan that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telefora. We might even learn something new. Alisai is now accompanying you. Keep her at your side in order to proceed with quest. You can leave Alisai behind by entering a different area, or by speaking with her and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have Alisai accompany you again, return and speak with her at the original location. Perondier says what is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. Alisai says you misunderstand, sir, we were simply wondering if you knew of the Telefora. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Perondier says wait. You're that house leveler girl, aren't you? And this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Alisai says well. I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Haven.
Wow.
Hildwas says yes. I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Alisai says pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telefora and their unconscionable plans. Hildwas says my goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Leveler. My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunald that I was helping you. Alisai says, I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Dickon says, welcome, madam. What? Wait, is that Mistress Alisai I see there? My word, Alisai says far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the last stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between. Dickon says that seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphinaud had set sail for Eorzea, but lately there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? Alisai says it's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Dickon says, well, it is House Leveler. No matter how discreet Master Fortunald may have been, news of your family's doings things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all time? Alisai says we have questions, and only Charlayan has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything? Dickon says, what, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to Alisai says, yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your pay. Dickon says, I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlotte. Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Alisai says, not a bad idea. I hate. Dickon says, that's the spirit.
Hello there.
Pay attention, now, and I'll explain where. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of. Behind them, you should see a Miko Te gentleman. He ordered the got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain.
Oh crap.
Hermenjart says, oh, my tea set. Lovely. The Telefo who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them, or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Gisela says, is this on the house? Because I'm not.
Oops. I'll give you the omelette.
Ah, finally. 2, 4, 6, 8, let's dig in, no time to waste. What? The Telefora we? Ah, yes. I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral.
So you have a lobster.
Esmito says at last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Esmitu says the final days? This is the first I've heard of it. Esmitu says although. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Sharlayan, priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. Esmitu says so named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. By all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. Esmitu says if these Telephora make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Esmitu says watch the harbor, and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Alisai says any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Alisai says even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the— In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues.
Let's have to say hi, Lee. Oh, wait a minute.
Alisai says yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind, and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alphinaud, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum.
I must have spit my beer.
If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Alisai says we should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Numenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back.
Okay, so we will turn up. We'll prepare our crafts. Just make those active craft lists. I don't have either. Okay, so let me just go upstairs. Oh, there's a summoning bell right here. The hunt board right here too. Oh, summoning bell's right here. So the doctor has the first item. It is in bag 330. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
You.
Nikucha, bag 333. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 33. I'll put the top drawer there.
Must.
Let me grab out of the shadow bag, Fight 5. Let's put that there for now. Okay, so it is 350. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Please remove. No, that's, oops, saddlebag. Oops. Trade. Oh my god. Oh, my... Yep. Now we need to craft 5. Oh crap. I'll just put that right there for now. Craft 4. I need to craft 4. There you go. Awesome. Where'd that rug go, anyways? Awesome. Have fun. I have to stop crafting. And now let's make our own hat. Cool. Now let's sort and put that into the armor chest. And I will be right back. I need to really use the washroom.
Amelia says going to this next boss one here. Amelia says you have like 13 minutes. So take your time. Amelia says this is sick lol what? Oh shit. You're not here. He'll stop attacking. Amelia says you guys with your sick mounts. Orange says I know right. Amelia says first a car, then this.
Where is summoned Bahamut? Um. Oops. Ah, right. Is that 62 or is that 82? I need to move my HUD with that.
Amelia says BRB. Time for promotion. Orange says K. You got a fightin' chicken? Orange says call him out. Orange says sorry, I see her now. Amelia says I'm running there.
Oh, what the hell? That was weird.
Orange says
What
gather.
the hell? Give me a second. Why is... That's weird. That's so weird. Excuse me.
Orange says I gotta run. Amelia says TYBM. Orange says tie for hanging out. Amelia says okay. I think I'm done too. TYBM.
Okay. Okay, so let's go back to wait, is there a summoning bell here that's close by? Yeah, there's one right there.
Next. Anything for you. Must. Rory. Sure.
No duplicates, cool.
All. The You know. If that is that
cool. Ah.
Kryle says welcome back, Haven. Been for a walk? Alisai says not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up. Waishtala says it makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, a sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo. It certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Alphanod says let us see what theory we can build from the As Waishtala observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final day. Coupled with what Haven and Alisai learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telephorowi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. Kryle says I do not think it a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious: we visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more
Anything would be better than a dusty book.
I understand not everyone is the studious type. Consider this a welcome change of. Jiraha says as for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that Kryle says that would be a great help. Alisai says let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance. Alisai says ready. Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. Alisai says I'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow Alisai and try not to fall behind.
Off we go. Whoa, F9 is... Now we won? Then why'd you stop? Excuse me.
Here we are. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It will make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. Sherlina says welcome to the Hall of Artifice. Should you be looking to descend to Labyrinthos, the lift here will take you there. Kryle says we're all here now, yes. I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms.
It's good advice.
A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze
Absolutely, I am JD Bot.
flowing waters you hear, all created by the
You should probably change the name because otherwise people might think you're a bot.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected.
that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh.
Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Aaronville says you here to help or give me more headaches. Because you don't have the look of a gleaner, and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose.
Excuse me.
Your exchange with Aaronville has taught you about exhausted gleaners.
Wow.
Taif says let me think, let me think. The Rhea seeds should be item 1058, cumin seeds 1059, snurbbleberry 1060, or were they 1061? Arg, my head feels like it's stuffed with moko grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Kourvan carrots for the Gyra Banyan carrots? What then? Your exchange with Taif has taught you about large shipments coming in and out of Labyrintha. Dobbin says you want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books. And ore. And fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos, you know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout and preparing for the next big expansion.
I'm gonna put you on, be right back until I can order some food.
Your exchange with Dobbin has taught you about taking stock in Labyrinthos.
So I'll sit here talking with Kyle right in front, but I will be back in a few minutes because I'm gonna order some food and use the washroom. All right, we are back. We haven't got our food yet, but it is coming.
Kryl says, any luck, Haven? What tales did the Gleaners have to tell?
Let's just review chat while I was gone.
So this grand operation began without warning?
Nothing new.
And for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing.
So nothing since since JD asked me.
We were right, the forum is definitely up to something. And they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. We would do well to learn more of what, specifically, the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it.
I'm gonna run out of space. I'm gonna run out of 80 room, I think.
If you're game, Haven, I have an idea. Didn't one of the Gleaners you questioned say something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if you were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting! Aaronville says you wish to help me find the marmots? I've nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. Aaronville says the name is Aaronville, friend. Specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of these Naxian marmots is a trial I've no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. Aaronville says for a mercy, there are no other marmot species on this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack. Gently, of course. Aaronville says where to begin, you wonder? I've not seen any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Aaronville says be on your guard. There are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot, or you. Aaronville says I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. Grizzled says. Barely have you readied the sack when the grizzled mouse scampers off into the underbrush.
Alright, chat, we are back for the night. We don't have anything else we have to do for the night. Besides play
Grizzled
video
says,
games.
the rodent nimbly evades your grasp before once more disappearing into the tree. More prepared for its speed this time, you succeed in closing the sack over your elusive quarry. Aaronville says, how did you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 unaccounted for. Ah, there's the odd marmot out. Wait here a moment while I put our friends in a holding cage. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. They've held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my... That's for the Forum to decide. They are the guiding authority behind Labyrinthos after all, and this job was but one small part of this great inventory of, suitable for consumption and easy to breed. Those were the 2 conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least, I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. Elisai says, there you are, Haven. Kryle says, is this the gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking for... Aaronville says, interesting company you keep, friend. Kryle says, I am Kryle of the students of Baldesion. These, truth be told, the Forum's decisions of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we made the descent into Labyrinthos. We hope that by seeing those decisions put into action, we might more fully understand. Aaronville says, wise and practical. Never hurts to try and gain a... Anyway, duty calls, other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can't... Kryle says, did you learn anything new from your friend there? So we've confirmed that the order for this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I'd say that fits with everything we've heard thus far. Alphinaud says we also discovered when the operation was begun. The Forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship and put their people to this great work some 4 days after the Telephora made their chilling deck. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus am I inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Wishtala says altogether, it gives the distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development, yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making, they were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. Alisai says and the Teleforowi's declaration was what set it all. Wishtala says it seems likely. But let us. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle. Kryl says in that case, how about we head to the Archaean? From there. Alisai says Kryl. What's wrong? Kryl says I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about. Alphinaud says at least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the. We follow the path east, through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or marmot, was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls.
Alright, here we go. I don't know how many quests it is until I hit 81. I know I could look it up. Oh, I've got the hiccups now. Oh, excuse me, I've really got the hiccups.
Behold, the Archaean. As Numenon serves as Sharlayan's literary archive, so does this structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archaean contains a physical history of Sharlayan's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Let us proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. Faizbro says in the market for something on the rarer side? Got a whole village's worth of surplus from the Archaean, some of which can even be yours for some bicolor gemstones. You now have access to this region's gemstone exchange. Trade bicolor gemstones for a variety of successfully completing local fates will allow. Rama says hi. Kaya says we love you, bug girl. Kaya says party on. Alphanod says greetings. We are here to Archaean says peruse. You are clearly not gleaners. Kryl says we belong to the students of Baldician, but, is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults, those open to the public. Archaean says ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons. Waishtala says not us, then. I suppose we had. Kryl says this building has a lift which connects to the middle tier, yes. Might we at least. Archaean says that service has also been suspended, I am afraid. For the time being, priority has been given. Elisai says what, so this is as far as we. Archaean says I apologize for the inconvenience. Please come again after our restructure. Elisai says by that time, it will be too late. And we were. Waishtala says we need to rethink our approach. Let us step outside. Archaean says, students of Baldician.
Wonder what they were all up to outside there.
Waishtala says we are at an impasse. As we have no other leads, I should like to pursue this one further. But I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. 'Tis likely that the people in this area are involved in the restructuring in one way or another. If we were to ingratiate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let us ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load.
Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. Oh, they're there.
Bemused says, am I taking the lift? Oh, no, we're just students. They won't let us into the Archaean, even though we found. Actually, we have no idea what it is we found, there's no record of such a creature anywhere. But it was wandering around tranquility, and so we thought to donate it to the vaults. Muffled says. Bemused says, oddest little squeal, don't you think? Anyway, I suppose we'll have to take care of it until the Archaean is open again. Bone Weary says, what's that? Take you down on the lift with me? Sorry, but not a chance. I've been up and down all day, and only now have I finally found a spare moment to rest. I did see a gleaner fellow heading out the gate there, though. Shouldering a large pack, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. Aaronville says quiet. You'll frighten it away. Ah, it's you again. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. The Cloudkin I need to capture is close. Very close. You wish to help me with this, too. You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than 1. Very well, the canal here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kinds, but the one I'm after today is the hornbill. Its feathers are green, and its cry a distinctive caw. Single it out and shoot it with the sleeping dart. Aaronville says the effects are short-lived, so I'll lie in wait down by the riverbank to claim our quarry. Be sure to hit the right one. Search your surroundings for the hornbill. You may move the camera, as well as zoom in and out. Target the hornbill and use the blowgun with